And we're live. Hi, friends. Welcome to the Vintage Rescue Squad. Hello. I just want to thank you guys for coming. This is really exciting. We're super excited to have Joycelyn and Alex here on the Vintage Rescue Squad. Before we get into anything, I will go ahead and we'll go ahead and do a little bit of introductions like we do every week. I'm Misty, Thrifter Junker Vintage Hunter. I have live YouTube sales, 3 times a week. And I also sell on eBay, and I do have a brick and mortar that's partially open. And that's me. So we'll go to my co-host right next to me, and he'll do his little introduction.
All right. Well, I am Michael Todd, and I'm with The.Cult.Of.Vintage, and I am doing semi-weekly live sales on my channel, The.Cult.Of.Vintage, and of course, with Misty and Michelle every Tuesday at 1. Putting out videos 3 times a week, as usual. That's me.
That's him. And then down below me, we have our glowing angel.
Oh. Are we talking about me? Or Alex?
Yes. Aren't you normally described as a glowing angel?
A ghost, but I mean, I guess.
Oh.
I don't know how to adjust it. I'm just going to be like this the whole video. But my name is Joycelyn. I'm a lady on YouTube. I put out daily videos, thrifting and reselling, and that's what I do.
And last but not least, we have a gentleman sitting below. We're like Brady Bunch, sitting below.
There's a story. I'll look you up in all the different boxes everywhere. That's
sitting
right.
below Michael. Alex, go ahead and tell the people a little bit about you.
I am a guy who has an antique store, and I go around and buy and sell stuff, and have a YouTube channel, and I do things. I don't know. And so forth. I'm sure we'll get into the nitty gritty as we talk, I'm sure.
Yeah.
He's living life day by day.
I am.
Well, I think that's what we all do, don't we? It's just like
trying to.
I was literally sorting stuff in my living room before coming on this live chat to take it to an auction for August.
Yeah. See, I want to pick your brains a little bit about that, because that's something that first of all, I want to say thank you, Kat, the Nurse Slipper, for the super chat. I appreciate it. Love you. It's something that I am looking into after I have my pop-up shop. I'm having a pop-up shop in Labor Day weekend. I have not been opened in 3 years.
No, since January of 2020.
Okay, 2.5 years. Our brick and mortar has been closed. We just got sick of being there. Honestly, I hated being tied down. And Alex, that's something that I know can relate to. I didn't like being tied down. I spent my whole weekends there. I couldn't go out picking. It was just miserable for us. We own the building outright. So I just decided to move my reselling business in the shop. But then I have all these big things that I'm not shipping, and I've shoved them all into a certain area of the shop, and now I need to sell it. So I'm very interested in possibly, I have an auctioneer friend that I'm going to ask about doing some auctions on consignment. But you do all of yours via a web-based auction house, right?
Yeah, I haven't done anything. I try not to sell too much stuff online myself, because frankly, I hate shipping. And when you're shipping hundreds of things, I just don't, all that packing and stuff. You guys probably do it regularly. I'm not a big fan.
It's my favorite.
No,
I'm a weirdo. It's therapeutic for me to ship it. I don't know why. I think it's just the whole completion. Like, I buy it, I sell it, and then I send it off. So I'm the weird one that likes shipping.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I have no idea what it was even. Yeah, I use an auction house. And usually once a month we do a big sale to blow stuff out to clear the shelves. Yeah,
you just had one.
There's one happening right now. There's one.
Yeah.
So this is like my shameless vlog. Where's my cane and my straw hat? That's right, folks. There's an auction happening right now for Curiosity Inc. Come on down. No.
Now the thing. the thing of it is like the shipping. Now, is it? I have heard. I don't know if this is true, but you tell me. Maybe you know. If is it cheaper for Canada to ship to the U.S. than it is for the U? I know it's very expensive for us to ship to Canada.
Yeah, it's less expensive because when it gets to the border, we're using USPS, and then you guys are super cheap in America. But when you're coming up here, you're paying more because Canadian shipping is more expensive. So that's what's going on there. But yeah, no, I definitely. You were talking about storing stuff. I remember I went to visit an antique store in British Columbia, and he had one store for his store, and he had a whole other store just to keep stuff in. And I was like, why are you paying rent on 2 locations to I mean, you own your place outright, so it's probably not costing you anything. But I'm a firm believer if I have to store it, I shouldn't have it. And I just like to keep what's on my shelves and nothing more.
So you just have your store. You don't have like any kind of an inventory warehouse or units of anything.
No, if I'm storing things, I'm not selling them fast enough for my liking. And so if I get a product category in, like we just emptied out another house full of stuff, and there's a lot of it that I wanted to bring to the store. So I went around the shop beforehand to do the auction sale to make room for the new stuff to come in. And there's so much left over, we have to do yet another auction sale for that. But it's constantly, it's like the Costco ideology. If you guys have ever been to Costco, if you don't buy it when you see it, you probably won't get it. I like that mindset because if you have something really special in your store, you don't ever have to discount it. You can just, you can list it, you can sell it. And if they don't buy it right then, it's gone. Like I flip my inventory every few months probably. So it won't be there even if they don't buy it. And sometimes I'm really surprised where I get better money at auction sales than I do out of the store or by selling privately.
Well, yeah, that's definitely my experience as well. You know, I have, for example, linens. I could not give linens away, tablecloths, hankies, dresser scarves, those sorts of things, doilies. I couldn't, I would sell them for like $1 or try to 50 cents and I wouldn't sell them, but people just go crazy over them during my live sales. And I don't know if you know, like I do live, and Michael does too. We do live sales on YouTube. So we go live and we sell items to our, to whomever is watching us. And we've done pretty well with that. And it's a lot of fun because you really get to know who your customers are. And when you're outsourcing, it kind of gives you, an idea of what the people are looking for and what they want. But yeah, the linens go crazy, but I could not sell them to save my life in my brick and mortar. But
Joycelyn,
it's definitely.
Do you guys all sell on YouTube or no?
No.
Joycelyn does not. I have been trying to work on her and she just won't give in.
I do all auctions, but we do our own auctions. So we run our auctions through eBay. And we list 25 to 30 items every single day, 7 days a week. And that's how we sell. And they're up for 5 days and then they're done. And we just keep our inventory moving. We have the same ideology as you, is that like, I don't like stuff sitting. I like to keep it moving. And if it's sitting for too long, I start getting anxious. So I like to just keep it moving because I don't like money sitting. I've invested in it. It needs to go.
Yeah. Well, my situation is a little odd because a lot of the things that I still have in my shop are things that my dad has had for my whole life. I mean, I was raised in an antique store. All of these things my dad has bought over the last, 46 years. So some of the things I do have, I've inherited, I guess. I know my dad is still living, so it's not like one of those things, but it's just stuff that we've had for years and years and years and years and years. And it, some things the market used to be better, then, like we kind of go back and forth a little bit because my dad will be like, well, I paid $75 for that. And I'm like, but it's not worth that right now. So it's kind of a hard thing because he's always walking around, don't just give everything away. Like my video today. And I was like, we're going to get rid of this stuff. And he's like, you're just going to give it away. No, I bet it needs to go. Because it's not doing, Yeah, it's not doing us any good just sitting there. It needs to go with someone that will appreciate it and love it and be able to give it a life again. I do want to say, if you guys have a question, I didn't say this before, make sure that you put it in all caps. The chat's going a little fast, so make sure that I'll try. I'm not going to be able to highlight every question, but if you have a specific question for one of us, then put it in all caps, and we can talk about it. Yeah, Virginia says there are things that she wants that are in your store right now.
Well, guess what?
You need to go to Canada, Virginia.
You could, yeah. Or, I mean, I do ship things. I don't want to sound as though I don't sell things privately or ship them. It's just when we decide to clear inventory, we're clearing 1,000 lots at a time, or 1,000 units, which could be a whole box of stuff or whatever. But I don't want to be shipping 1,000 individual things. I don't need that much therapy. I need you, Misty, because I have no love.
Listen, on a Thursdays are my shipping days, and I will ship sometimes over 100 items by myself, and I absolutely love it. I do. My daughter does the invoicing for me, and I pack things up and I wrap it all nice and I put little inserts in it. I just love it so much, but I'm the weird one. But it's very therapeutic to me. I don't know why, but I do love it. And that's one thing that when you're talking about having to give up certain things as your business grows, and some things you have to, delegate out, or maybe, hire someone. Like I've hired my daughter to help me, but that's one thing that I won't give up is the shipping. Well, and that though too, like for me, I feel like safer knowing that I shipped it. If it would arrive damaged, then it's my fault. Well, it's probably not my fault, but you know what I mean. It's
my
probably USPS's fault, because they like to drop kick our pack.
I don't know what sort of stuff Michael focuses on. Like, what's your favorite stuff to find, Michael?
Oh, I mean, it's different because there's like my personal taste. And my personal taste is more Art Nouveau, Austrian, German, which isn't really the strong market for what we sell on YouTube Live. A lot of the YouTube Live very much is going to be focused like the 50s and the mid-century modern.
Right.
That's what's really popular and really desirable and commanding a lot of people's attention. Swung bases, the Viking. Uranium still does do good though, but it's the kitschy, the Holt Howard. We'll find you, Donna. So again, I do have an appreciation for that, and I have started to come around to it, especially in my collections and in my decor. But I really do. I like decorating more with the antiques. Though there's a giant Ellie Smith swung vase on the counter right now, so I'm all over the place.
Yeah. Now, Michael, forgive me. I have not watched your video this morning. Was that in your video? That vase?
Yes. And it was one of those weird things. I was out yard sailing and I walked up and there was a garage to the left of me and it was just sitting there like under all of this stuff. And I was like, is that even part of the yard sale? And I turned and I said, is this stuff for sale? And the lady's like, no, he's not selling that. And the guy's like, yeah, you can go in there. Anything's for sale. And I was like, okay. And just piled. It was just, you all know, you walk into an environment like that and you're like, what am I going to find? And I'm pulling out Viking. I got 3 pieces of Viking. I did miss a green opalescent. I pulled out an Ellie Smith vase. I mean, it was just a good time. I just scratched the surface.
Yeah. Now, Alex, do you go to thrift stores, yard sales, antique stores to source? Or do you have a lot of people that kind of come to you?
When I first started, I did because, I was starting from scratch with 0 leads. And so I would go to other antique stores and try and strike deals. And my thought when I first opened was, if I buy all the coolest stuff from every antique store in my area, then they won't have it anymore. So even if I don't make any money off it, my store will be really interesting. So I went and I bought indigenous art and beautiful masks, and I decorated my whole store and all the best stuff. And everybody come in and go, wow, this store is cool. And before you know it, you have leads. And now we've been in business 5 years, and for the past 4 years and 11 months, let's say, pretty much all of my buying comes from leads. I get calls, and because I've done the hoarder house clear outs, I don't get normal calls. It's never like, hey, do you want to come over and look at Grandpa's razor that might be for sale?
Right.
It's like, hey,
Yeah.
come over, look at Grandpa's house. He's been hoarding, and we had to wiggle our way through there. Do you want to? You have to buy everything. Those are the calls I get. And I was at, I bought the contents of a house a couple days ago, and I had another place I looked at today, but there wasn't really much there. But I've been working like so crazy the last few days, just emptying this place out and getting stuff to the shop that I had no idea. This is actually a nice break to be able to sit here and talk to you guys. But yes, most of it comes from almost all of it's from leads now.
I think I have a
Now-
question. So
Yeah.
when you get these leads and you go to these houses to do clean outs, like how do you differentiate like between like how do you tell someone like, sorry, I can't do this, or like do they ever take it the wrong way, or
Well,
have you ever had you can't, like, sorry, this isn't really what I'm looking for? Because like that's what I worry about, is we have a lot of people coming to us and saying, hey, we've got a bunch of stuff, and like we usually just don't respond to a lot of them because I don't know how to tell people I'm sorry, we can't, do this right now, and so I have a hard time figuring out what we can handle and what we can't handle. And so I'm just curious how you deal with it.
That's a really good question. You got my brain swirling thinking about this.
Sorry if I put you on the spot. I'm just really curious. Oh, I can't.
Your audio is up.
Okay. I had a phone call.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're good now.
Okay, we're good. I am Canadian. So like Joycelyn, I have a difficult time telling people that their stuff is pretty much garbage. So I'll give you an example. 2-3 days ago, I was called out they were offering me the entire contents of a garage for free, and it was stacked up to the roof. They were going to include a 70s boogie van, a car, and a trailer, and a whole bunch of other stuff, but I had to take everything. Oh. And so I went and I looked, and I said, a lot of this probably has value, but more in the scrap aspect. And I said, for me, that's going to be a lot of time and effort, and it's probably not going to be worth my effort to do it, because there's probably $2,000 worth of scrap, but it's going to take me 2 weeks of my life to get this stuff moved out of here. So for me, it doesn't make sense. But I go into those situations, I'm honest with them. And I said, like these radiators off these cars are all copper. You take those in, you get good scrap value out of them. So I kind of point out the things and the places they can go. I give them numbers for places so they're not left stranded. And then they called me up later and said, well, because I left, they were disappointed because they wanted me to take everything. And they said, listen, you can just come back and take whatever you want out of there. And then I did the little video where I went through and I got some bicycles and some other stuff. But and they'd already made good progress because they did call a scrap company that dropped a scrap bin and they chucked a bunch of the metal in. So I just try and give them resources, so I'm not leaving them stranded, because these people are at their wits' end. They don't want to deal with it. They've already had to deal with either the loss of a loved one or some terrible trauma in their life, or there's family that's disputing who owns what of this junk, and they don't even want it. So I don't want to leave them totally stranded. So if I'm not going to take everything, I try and give them some resources or some tools. What I am surprised with, though, lately is that I'm getting more offers to take everything for free. Like this was cars and all sorts of stuff for free. Because they just really don't want to.
Now, they didn't offer you the boogie van for free, though, did they? Didn't they want a couple $100 for that? Well, no, they offered it to you for free?
Well, they would have given it to me for free, yeah. But I chose not to take it because I'm a little swamped in my life right now. I just finished emptying a house full of crazy stuff, like stuff I've never seen before in my life.
Sounds familiar. Somebody else I know.
Yeah, it's so much fun to do that. Why? Who else got a really cool lead lately? Was it
somebody?
Yeah, we're in a really cool house right now in New Jersey. We got invited to help a friend clean out a house, and there's been some really incredible stuff coming out of this house. It's like all of the items on my bucket list of things to find are coming out of this house, and it's just like one after the other, and it's been an overwhelming experience.
That's cool. Are you able to keep some of the stuff? Or
Oh yeah, we've been buying it. At first, he wanted to give it to us, and I was like, no, I really I want to buy it from you because I'm going to resell it and I'm going to make money on it. So I want to buy it from you. It was a friend of ours, and he's like, you can have it, you can have it, you can have it. I'm like, I don't think you know what this stuff is worth. Like, I'm going to buy it from you, and then we're going to resell it. And if it does even well than I expect, then we're going to come back, and because that's what we do. But it was just, it's amazing. It's just incredible.
Well, and I think that what you said kind of goes along the lines of what Alex said about, you could have gone in and said, oh yeah, thanks, I'm going to take all this stuff. But you were fair about it, and, you weren't taking advantage of the person. I've had people come in, they want me to buy things that they want me to pay retail for it. And so that's why I always and then you guys probably know this too, the art of the deal is you want them to give you a price first. And then, you can negotiate from there. I don't want to go in and say, I'll give you $75 for this. And they're like, well, I was going to sell it to you for 20, but okay. You know what I mean? So you can negotiate to where it's fair for you and it's fair for them.
If there's anything I've learned in the last few years is that when I first started buying and selling before I had the store, I was afraid to tell people that I was a reseller because I didn't think they'd give me a better deal if they knew I was going to make profit. So when I was doing it privately and I had a booth at an antique mall and did it on the side, I was shy about saying I was a reseller. But now I'm very upfront and I say I need to make at least 50%. If I sell it for 10, I got to buy it for 5. But where I find that where I get the best deal is if I put everything in a pile and I don't go piece by piece. I try really not to go piece by piece because that will take forever when you're buying a truckload of stuff. So I will do an estimate in my head what I think is an honest estimate. So I'll say there is probably $2,000 worth of stuff here. But I'm a store and I have staff and I have to worry about, paying the bills. So for me, I'd have to be right around $1,000 and 9 out of 10 times they're like, that's cool. And if they're not, then I say, okay, well, how about if I just took these few things that really stood out to me? Because there's always some stuff that I really don't want to leave behind. But I bundle and I bulk deal. That's where the best profit's been.
Yeah, I was the same way. I never wanted to tell anyone I was a reseller. And then after a while, I was like, you know what? There's a lot of people that get it. And so I'm just upfront. I'm like, well, I'm reselling, so I need to make money on this too. And there's so many people that are a lot more understanding and they understand that you need to make money. And so I don't hide it. And we went into a place the other day and there were no prices on anything. And it was I'm always so nervous. It had all this really fine art. And I was like, oh God, what did I just walk into? All this, I'm like, oh gosh, there's no price. And the prices that were on stuff were so I was like, all right, well, I'm just going to put together a little pile, and I went with the guy. I'm like, well, we're resellers from Pennsylvania. We were in New Jersey, right outside New York City. I'm like, we're from Pennsylvania, we resell on eBay. And he was like, well, you're dealers, so I can cut you a break. And I'm like, oh my gosh, thank God.
Yeah, I mean,
people understand if you're upfront.
Well, I think they're being empathetic though too, because they themselves are they probably found that or they picked it up. It was an estate, it was a garage sale. They found it from and they've acquired it. So they get that. So their margin's already built into, and collectors typically are willing to spend more, and we all know that, than a reseller. Yeah. And it's kind of then they're working with their brethren at that point. There's that connectivity. There's the rapport.
Well, and there is this old school rapport or this old school rule as far as the antiques community that if you're a dealer, you typically if someone comes into my shop and they're a dealer, I typically will give them 10% off. It's just kind of a camaraderie thing. You know what I mean? And that's the way it's always been. I just thought that's what everybody did because that's growing up. That's what always happened that, you're a dealer, hey, brother, hey, sister, you give each other 10% off. Just kind of a thing. I know that it doesn't always happen, but that's just kind of a rule of thumb that I was always, brought up with. I do want to get to some of the questions. We're just having so much fun talking. I'm forgetting to pull up some of these questions. Julie, AJ's Retro and Vintage. Hey, girl. She wants to know, Alex, if you'll give us an example of something that you've never seen before, like something that you've pulled out of this latest pick.
Well, it's funny because I technically can't, because that means I would have seen it at this point. So I'll have to tell you.
You have to watch the video.
Some of the better finds I've had. I went into somebody's basement. This is one of those things where you never know. Like, and Joycelyn, you were saying sometimes you don't follow up on those calls. Some of the worst phone calls ended up having the biggest yields for me, where one guy told me he wanted me to come and pick up a junk TV. And I'm like, I don't want your 1970s TV. He's like, well, maybe there's. So I went over there, and he ended up having all this other cool stuff, like antique firearms and crazy things. But the best thing he had there, and this is an example of something that I hadn't seen before and will never have a chance to see again unless it comes back to me. What it was like a paperweight. It was a little stone square paperweight, and it had a little bronze ship anchor on it. Now, that doesn't sound all that amazing, but it's who it was to that was cool. It was a wedding gift, and it said to Sir John and Lady Franklin on their wedding day, and it was like 1855 or whatever. Well, Sir John Franklin's the one that went down in the Franklin expedition in the Arctic and died. So I was thinking, like, where his ships, the Erebus and the Terror or whatever else, they went to the bottom of the ocean in the 1800s. Like, you remember National Geographic where there's like mummies in the Arctic from this expedition, the guys ate each other and stuff? That was the guy. And I was thinking, here it is in my hand in the basement of this guy's sock drawer, you know, like, and I have it in my hand now. By some twist of fate, he could have said, you know what I need on my ship? A paperweight. Where is that one that we got for our wedding? Like another flip of a switch, and it could have been at the bottom of the ocean for over 100 years. So, you know, those are things that are historically significant. I had an opportunity to acquire King George's car that they used for the royal tour across Canada during the war. And we got that into a museum. I've had, you know, historic documents and letters, Civil War artifacts. Like, I really like finding the historical stuff because, you know, it's kind of a one-of-a-kind thing, and not many people are going to have it or have access to it. I have this ship at my store right now that's of the Bismarck. You know, the Johnny Horton song, you gotta sink the Bismarck. Yes, the world depends on us. Hit the decks are running, boys. You know that one? Anyway.
Yeah.
Sink the Bismarck. Anyway, the Bismarck. So I have this wooden model of the Bismarck, and it's POW art, but not by our guys, not by the Allies. They're German POWs that after that Bismarck sank, it did one of these all the way to the bottom, 12,000 feet it's under. And the guy got interned at a POW camp here where I live in Alberta during the war. And he made this little miniature Bismarck and gave it to one of the captains. And now I own it. And here it is, like this famous ship that, you know, Johnny Horton sang it, but not that Johnny Horton's a big deal. Johnny Horton's all the rage in Canada. No, he's not. I'm an old soul. Anyway, but it's just stuff like that, you know, is kind of cool and interesting that you just really don't get to come across it. You know, it kind of gets you fired up more than just your average stuff, you know?
Well, Nora wants to know, how does she find someone to authenticate a Mary Borgstrom pottery piece?
Well, if it was bought from one of my auctions, that'd be easy because all that stuff came out of the house. I pulled it out with my own 2 hands. But I found it somewhere. You should probably, I know her. I mean, heck, I wrote a book on it. So you'd be best to email me and send me the marks off the bottom, and I could tell you right away if it's one of hers.
Great. Yeah, that series just was amazing to me. I love pottery in general anyway. I always have. And that was an amazing story. Her story was amazing. And you know, I wish you, and I know that you wish this too, but I wish you would have been able to see, you know, the finished product when it was completed.
I showed her some pictures of the house. I went, because I used to go and visit her at the lodge. Whenever I'd go and work on the house, I'd stop and I'd visit her. And I'd say, oh, Mary, how's it going? I took Melissa and the kids to go meet, and she was super sweet lady. And apparently she was very selective with who she liked. We got along fine, probably because we're both kind of artsy, I guess. And I don't know, but
yeah,
it was important for me that people remembered who she was because she'd been forgotten for so long. And probably the biggest thing that came out of that house had nothing to do with any treasure or the house itself. It was that people got to know Mary again, and she'd been hidden away for so long. And she told me, she said, sometimes I wonder why I'm still here. Mm-hmm. And when I went and I talked to her the very last time I saw her, I told her that one of our viewers had put her name in for basically an award, like an achievement award. A very big honor to be nominated. And she was very silent, and she kind of put her hands together and she looked up, and I could just see that she was feeling more settled with where she was at life.
Yeah.
And I think that when you kind of, I think she was hanging on, and I think she finally had, the house was being taken care of, and I think she just felt more at ease with the situation. Boy, it sounds like I just killed somebody. If it wasn't for me, that lady'd still be alive today. Oh, no.
Well, no.
She was 100.
You just,
and I think that she was finally recognized again after a very long time.
She was solved. Somebody saw her. And I think that's one of the most powerful things that you can do for another individual. And, and I think that's an amazing story. And a lot of times we look at things and it's just stuff. But when you think about the meaning behind those things, who had them, who treasured them, the story that they held, and the people that were behind them, and to be able to provide that to somebody, that's a phenomenal thing.
Well, and you kind of like, when I started going through that house, and I don't know how familiar you guys are with that story, it was a very full house. Like, you couldn't even see rooms. I had to crawl on my belly to get across certain rooms to get to the other side. And there was areas of the house that hadn't been touched since the 1970s. And it was surprising to me that she remembered where stuff was in what drawer. If you can get yourself into that room, on the bottom drawer on the left-hand side, you're going to find a box of poetry or something. I'm like, sure enough, there it was. You could see there's receipts on the desk from 72 or 3, and she hadn't touched it since. But, all the stuff that I was like, man, what's she keeping this for? Well, she had tons of paper because she burnt them in her Raku fire pit. She had onion peels in boxes because she used them for dyeing fabric, because she loved to make her own clothes. Like, everything had a purpose. All the empty milk boxes or containers and stuff, she was keeping those around because she packed her pottery in them and used them for holding supplies because they're fairly waterproof because they're waxy. So everything kind of had a reason. She just went a little overboard, to say the least. But yeah, that was an experience. And that story didn't end. I just got back last week from re-renovating it, as unfortunately my tenants did not take care of it. So
yeah,
that was heartbreaking. When you went live a couple times I think a couple times from there, you were live, you could just tell that you have your frustration. You could totally pick up on your frustration and the thing of it is, all of your viewers could pick up on that too, because, we kind of felt like we were right there with you. I mean, we weren't doing all the work, but we were right along in with that story and saw all the hard work that you put into it. And then it's just like a slap in the face, And I remember when you rented that out, you were like, we're renting it out to this really nice family. And,
I thought they were. Yeah.
It's a shame.
So much love went into that house. And when we started doing renovations, Mary was alive. So we were trying to do things that we thought she would like, like certain colors that would remember. So when we wheeled her back in, which was the plan, and we also were getting it ready to show to her family. We had all of her family come down and see the house, many of which hadn't seen the house in years. So for me, it was an emotional investment where I met Jakota, Josh's brother, for the first time. I met Hans for the first time in that house.
Man.
I spent time with my wife and kids there. We all put so much of our heart into making a very special place to honor that woman and to make it so beautiful and just our little retreat. And it was more than a slap in the face. A slap in the face would have ended quickly. This was just, it was, I can't even put into words how I felt, because when you've done so much to try and honor this woman, to make it special, to put a little plaque on it, and then somebody goes in and starts emptying their Cheetos all over the floor and stuff, you're like, what? Like, it's so disrespectful.
The glittery nail polish.
Everywhere.
And all the holes in the wall.
Yeah,
the
I couldn't get over
holes in the wall.
Every wall. Yeah, 50 to 100 holes per wall. I was joking. Somebody said, well, what do you think happened? I said, I maybe he was like a 1920s gangster, and he's like, tell him Stinky Sam sent me. Hey, and he rattles off.
Yeah, I mean, that's
as he spells out his name, Stinky Sam, all over the walls. That's a terrible name for a gangster. That's the first thing in mind. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I'm trying to make light of it, but it's been truthfully one of the worst experiences of my life dealing with all that stuff, and it's still not over yet. It was about $10,000 in damage that we had to remedy. because everything had to be redone. Floors, ceilings, walls. I had to throw out the stove, which was Melissa and I. It was our stove that was a nice stove. And it was so gross with like barnacles of grease all over it and stuff. We're like, we're not even going to try and do anything with this. It was so bad. Yeah, it was bad. Yeah. Anyway, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, luckily, I think that I had heard that you have some interest on selling it. So hopefully that will all go through and it'll, it'll be the little house that can live on again.
Yeah. And these people are they watch the whole series, the people that are interested in the house. And so they want to respect Mary, and they want to maybe get her, I left her pottery studio as I found it, as it was, because it's kind of like, it's a little bit of a historic site, that little where she made her pottery. It was famous all around the world in the 70s and 60s, and now it kind of is again. And that's where it was made, right there. So I didn't want to, plow it over and put grass there or something. So they want to maintain all that. So I really hope that they end up getting it. So we'll find out. We'll see what happens.
Good. I hope so too, because it sounds like there'll be someone that will respect it, and that will, and it deserves respect. It's a historical home. You know what I mean? So, I mean, that was just
it's a big house too. It's over.
Yeah.
It's listed at 2,100 square feet, but it's probably closer to 2,300 because of the attic space and everything, the third floor. It's a big old house. Like,
I have to say, I was a little heartbroken to see you cover up the turquoise bathroom.
Oh, you like that?
Because I loved it so much. I was like, when I saw that, I was like, no, because I love that, and that's like my favorite color.
Well,
but it looks.
I had to make. Right. I went with a very simple palette. I really wanted it to be neutral.
That was smart. Yeah.
Yeah, not just for resale, but also the house needed a lightening. It needed a spiritual awakening of sorts. And Zenobia, Hans's girlfriend, or better, I don't know what you want to call her, partner. She's into sort of Native American spirituality and stuff. And she actually came with like an eagle feather and did this whole smudging thing in the house to get the bad energy out. I'm like, go for it. If any place needs it right now, it's this place. So she went all around and did that, and it smelled like sage in there for like hours after, and I'm like, good. And we painted it white, and everything just felt lighter and brighter and happier when we were done.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to do a little saging in the shop, because I've had a lot of my own stress and negative energy in there, and I needed it to leave and be positive energy with the sage. So.
Oh, see, I'm all about it. I was raised by hippie parents. My mom was a total hippie flower girl, so I grew up with all that kind of stuff. So I'm like, you want to?
There's something to it.
She smudged the house in a different sense. The renters, they more than smudged it. They smeared it.
They defiled it. They defiled the house.
Yeah, but it's back now.
Oh, there's Aaron. There's the collection. But now Aaron is a fellow Canadian. And I want to say, let me just stop here for a minute and let me just give Canada the props that is due. Mike already knows what I'm going to say. The potato chips, the ketchup potato chips are, I'm just going to say, I mentioned it a couple times, and I had like people sending me ketchup potato chips, and I was like, man, you guys just never want me to lose any weight. I will eat all of these ketchup potato chips that you send. It
makes sense, though. Like if you take a French fry,
so good.
Ketchup, right? So why wouldn't you have a potato chip, which is essentially like a flat, crispy French fry, and have ketchup on it?
And why can't they make those in America? Americans love ketchup.
We have them in Pennsylvania at the Goodwills.
Do we?
Well, you need to find me some.
Oh, those are secondhand. Those have been donated.
Listen, I don't care.
It's
Joycelyn,
like wrapped over.
Joycelyn, I'm expecting a suitcase full of ketchup potato chips in September.
I'm on it. Every Goodwill, I'm just going to load up on them, and then I'm going to bring them all up.
Yeah. Do they sell them like they do the adult diapers at the Goodwill? Because you always see those at the Goodwill too.
Right next to the ketchup potato chips. Right, same aisle.
You're kidding, right?
Yes.
Oh God.
There's
all about the marketing.
They don't sell food at our Goodwills here. There's no food there.
Oh, really?
Oh, well, you find the random can of Beanie Weenies in the Goodwills here. every once in a while.
Barbecue sauce the other day, barbecue sauce, and yeah, we've got the cans of it's random, but it's there.
It is.
But do people donate it, or is it like they've got a wholesale account somewhere?
I think the barbecue sauce was probably like a buyout, but like I guess other people donate it. But then we thought that maybe they were doing that after quarantine so that they were they could stay open because they were selling food. I'm like, well, maybe that would make sense.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like a
that's
sneaky
so
thing.
random.
Yeah,
I'm
oh,
sure
yeah.
I wouldn't trust. Okay, I don't want to get myself in trouble. But I wouldn't trust food from a charitable organization like that sells like, you know, they're having to sift out somebody donating their used sweat socks and Lego in the same bag, and they're like, you know what, we're gonna go to this and barbecue sauce. Let's throw that on the shelf too.
Right.
Like, why wouldn't you donate it to a food bank where they would give it out for free? Because at the Goodwill, they're selling it on the shelves. You know, like.
Well, you know,
If I
next
was-
they're gonna
Don't even
start
get me
selling
started on
food
Goodwill.
There's gonna be like bags
We
of
don't
steak
even-
like dripping on the wrap. Well, we already had the barbecue sauce. Just an
Yeah,
FYI.
you don't even want to get me started on the Goodwill, because the Goodwill and I get upset at Goodwill.
But don't they sell all
I
the
do
good
want to
stuff
say,
online?
oh yeah, they make billions of dollars.
I get the
I
good
wanna
stuff
say
all the time.
Well, but the Goodwills in Pennsylvania are banging. The ones in Indiana are crappy. You
I
got
get the
they send
occasional
all the
food,
good
but-
stuff to Pennsylvania.
Every once in a while,
I
I
do-
find there, but
I do want to say hello to Uncle Professor
depends.
George, the Antique Nomad. Alex, if you do not know the Antique Nomad, you should. He is a certified antiques appraiser. He is the most lovely person in the world. I love him dearly. So, hello, George.
my wife says I should be certified.
Well, certified or certifiable.
I was like,
Oh no, she thinks I'm nuts.
There's
All right, I
worse
did
things
see-
to be in life.
Thank you so much, Vintagerous. Vintagerous is another Canadian.
Yes.
And I did, yeah, someone had said about they had the all dressed in Canada. Yes, they occasionally sell those in America too. And I had a viewer from the UK send me Worcestershire sauce potato
Ooh.
chips.
Oh, that's random.
I don't know how I feel
They're
about
good.
hmm.
They were good.
Okay, but
I
you
love
go
potato.
to a restaurant. This is what I learned when I went to the United States. Somebody in the UK would know my trouble. When you go to a restaurant here and you get a steak, you have your options of like A1 sauce or HP sauce. And you guys don't really do HP sauce down there. And it's a Worcester-based sauce. And it's in England and it's in Canada. And I can't eat a steak without it. It just doesn't taste right. It's like thick like ketchup and dark brown, but it tastes
Oh, wow.
so good. Yeah, it's like garlic cloves and Worcester, and I don't know, it's good. But you guys don't do that there. I'll have to sneak mine in next time I go visit my sister.
Well, now, most people will say that a good steak, you shouldn't have to put any sauce on it. But
No,
I'm an A1 sauce girl too.
A1.
All right, my husband's over here.
You have to put A1 sauce on.
Yeah. Oh, my husband is the technical guy, and he's like, "You're kind of blurry," so I don't know what he's going to go mess with the router or something. So I don't know. And he's
It's all
like,
your dad's head. He's throwing things off.
"I know." Listen, that is a thing though, and
Animated.
I move pretty. I'm very animated.
I might try to.
All right. Someone had asked how you got started. So, Alex, how did you get started selling vintage
Well,
and
I don't-
antiques?
I don't want to monopolize the conversation here, but
Well, we're going to ask Joycelyn next.
okay.
What?
Well, I'll try and make it brief. My story is like more depressing though.
Well,
I started truthfully buying and selling antiques because my folks needed money, and we were a little bit down on our luck. And I started buying and selling so that I could help pay the bills with my parents. So I was probably 9-10 years old. I'd go to garage sales, and I'd look for things that were, mispriced or tagged, and then I'd sell them. At that time, you'd have to list it in the paper because I'm old. But I'd go and I'd find things that I thought might be collectible or cool, and I'd gather them together and I'd sell them, and then I would help give that money to my folks so they could pay rent or pay for insurance or whatever. So,
That's
but by the time I was in I think it was grade 8 or 9, I bought my parents a car.
wow.
It kind of just stayed like a side hobby, something I did on the side. And I remember I was at work one day, and Michael, we were talking about this earlier, how you're not sure if it's time to pull the plug or, should you do this full time or not. This was the defining moment for me. I was buying and selling when I was a manager for an Apple store, and I was in there, and we're like in the back office, and we're like doing our paperwork, whatever. And I was talking to the girl next to me, who's one of the other managers, and I was like, man, I went to this guy's house yesterday, and he had like a box full of Rolexes, and I got a good deal on them, and I sold them already, and I made like, 10 grand in one day. It was crazy. And she's like, man, you could probably just live off of doing this. I'm like, I guess, maybe. And that like kind of planted itself in my head. And then I was thinking, well, what would I really want to do with my life? Have some freedom and go exploring and do what I want to do. So we decided to quit my job, which was a good job. I'd been a district manager in retail prior to that, and start the antique store. And so that's what happened there. But yeah, that's how it all started when I was a kid, and buying and selling to help my folks.
You got bit by the bug. No, I don't. I think that's an inspirational story, actually.
Absolutely.
You got bit by the bug at a young age.
I don't know if it was bitten. I just kind of had an eye. Like even when I was 10, 11 years old, I could how the Terminator scans for his prey. Like imagine 1980s graphics and it's green night vision with a little line going across and it's scanning. That's like probably all of us when it comes to antiques, right? Like you're like bing, bing, bing. Like you saw that vase the other day, Michael, and you're like, yep, is that for sale? I was like that when I was a kid. And so I could go to garage sales and I'd be in and out in like 2 minutes, where other people would stop and they'd look at a little table forever and be like, oh, look at this. I'd be like, okay, I'm done. And my mom would be like, are you done already? I'm like, yeah, I spent my $5 and I got this giant bag of whatever. And I remember one time we went out and I bought an entire box full of collector coins from the 1920s and 30s. And the lady's like, oh, whatever the face value is, and then we'll give you a bunch for free. And I'm like, Mom, it's money. My dad was, I'm like, Dad, it's money for less than the cost of money. And so I was like begging for whatever money my dad had in his pocket to buy this stuff. And yeah, just ever since I was a kid, I guess. But yeah. How about you guys?
Joycelyn, do you want
to? Well, I've talked about it a little before on my channel, but kind of the same story, except I was in my early 20s, and I was just, needed extra money to pay for bills and to the kids and whatnot. And so I started going to yard sales, and it all started with my dad bringing home a lamp that he had gotten at a garage sale. It was one of those slag glass tulip lights from like the 1970s. And he was like, yeah, I got this at the church yard sale. It was $5. I could probably sell this on eBay for $75. And I was like, wait, you're going to put that on eBay and you're going to make money? Wait. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to make money. I'm like, you can do that? He's like, yeah. I'm like, I can do that. And so like, I just put this idea in my head that I could go out and I could buy stuff and flip it. So I just started going out, scouring yard sales, garage sales, making extra money so I could pay the bills and, buy diapers for the kids. And, that was pretty much my story. And that was 10 years ago. And the kids, Ashton's 10 now and Juliet is 7. And so I used it as a means to support myself. And I started the YouTube channel 3 years ago. And that came over from my other previous channel, Relic Recovers, which was mostly metal detecting. And I was like, I need something to do in the off time. And I was, always reselling. So I was like, you know what? I could probably film myself doing this too. And so I just started filming myself doing reselling as well. So I started the Crazy Lamp Lady channel. And yeah.
It's been going strong ever since.
Yeah, it's been quite the adventure for sure.
Michael, do you want to tell your story?
I mean, mine's probably the shortest. I don't know. I don't even know, you guys. It's like, because I had Instagram and, I had my, not the Cult.Of.Vintage, and that all revolved around vintage toys. And I just started to sell them because I would find them and I'm like, well, I know there's value and there's other collectors out there. And that just kind of started the ball rolling on that. And obviously, like with the whole thing with like going out with my grandparents and everything like that. So I just kind of started to merge the two, and everything just kind of took off from there. I mean, the Cult of Vintage was meant to just kind of be like a Instagram vintage meme, and I would occasionally put stuff up for sale up there. And then I was like, well, no, I'll do it on eBay. And then, you know, these two again really kind of were like, well, no, I think that you should try doing that. I really think that you should try doing that. And I was like,
peer pressure.
do what?
Peer pressure.
Peer pressure, yeah. Peer pressure totally got me into it. So, I mean, I do. I enjoy it. It's fun. The community is amazing. You know, everybody's been so gracious and so welcoming and so supportive. So that really has really, I don't know, that, you know, again, Alex, it's kind of like I'm going to go back to like the connection you had with Mary. And I think that, you know, we can all agree is that, again, at the end of the day, it's stuff. But then, you know, and it is transactional so far as I'm selling you something, I'm getting money and you're getting this item. But over the course of time, especially with doing the YouTube lives, you do begin to build a rapport and in some instances a friendship with individuals. And everybody that's watching, you know, everybody has a life, everybody has a real life story, and everybody has those struggles that they go through. And you see them make connections not only with, you know, content creators, but with other community members. And you see that in the chat, and they connect and they converse and they ask how one another are, they check up on one another. Yeah. So it's just been, that has been something that I didn't expect, that I was aware of, but I guess in seeing it through, because when I didn't do it, you know, Misty and Joycelyn would express kind of like, I don't know, like I was very big on, you guys don't know how impactful, what the meaning that a video, yeah, it's a video and you're out shopping, but you don't know what that video might mean to somebody. And now to be able to do that for the people and to see those comments, that is just, to see people say, I look forward so you can make me laugh. I always know I'm going to laugh. I always know I'm going to laugh. And that is so meaningful and so motivational to me to keep going.
And everyone loves your laugh. Everyone loves to hear your laugh. So just your laugh makes other people feel happy. I know. Yeah. This community is lovely. I mean, it's just really filled with a lot of lovely old souls. We were talking about being an old soul, and we all kind of we have this commonality. We love to find and rescue these pieces that have a story. There's some story behind these pieces. And, you know, whether you're a collector or you're just using them for your home decor, it just kind of brings everybody together. And I think that it's, I don't know, it's just heartwarming, I think. And there's my little baby Jeff right there. You know, forgetting about the show tonight, even though I've talked to him 15 times today and have reminded him, but real nifty vintage. He's my little baby Jeff. Actually, Jeffrey and I are meeting up next Monday, so be prepared for that horrible Misty to be in some of Jeffrey's videos.
Oh, Alex, you're gonna have to get, Missy's gonna need that feather. She's gonna need to do some smudging if she's gonna meet up with Jeffrey down. You know. We'll smudge down. I might be. Oh, you got some burn some.
Yeah, I'll bring some. I'll burn it all around Jeffrey to give him some positive energy.
Better. Okay.
All right. Yeah. We are all a little crazy, Jane. Yeah. That's what makes it so fun. We can all have our little crazy moments and, you know, our frustration moments. And y'all saw a really vulnerable side of me in today's video. And I'm going to do these weekly shop videos where I may cry. Oh. I'm having a pop-up shop and I'm very nervous about it because, and I was talking to Joycelyn about this earlier. I was like, you know, people are like flying in and they're coming from all around and they're wanting to come in. I'm like walking around thinking, who's going to want all this junk? There's nothing good here, but there is, trust me, there is. But it's like stuff that I see all of the time. I look at it every single day.
Oh, honey, they're coming to see you.
But they need to buy this stuff, because I got to get rid of it. Now, listen, I'm going to do great prices too, by the way. I'm not just going to give it away, Dad, but I'm going to give good prices.
Sell it.
Misty, you didn't tell us how you got started. I'm guessing your dad was somewhat involved.
Yeah, I was going to yard sales when my dad would still take me in a little baby carrier. And I, and I've said this before, growing up, I just thought everybody sold antiques. I mean, I didn't know anything different. I just thought it was just a common thing to do. But I remember as a child I remember being so embarrassed going to yard sales, and I got to a point where I hated going to auctions. I hated to go to the antique malls. I hated it. I just could not stand it. And I said, everything in my house is going to be modern. I'm not going to have any of this old stuff. And, we all see how that turned out. I was teaching, and then I was like, I quit. I was like, nope, not for me. Done. And we had the shop before I quit my job. But I just was done. And I've not looked back since. I just absolutely love doing this. It's a very hard thing to walk away from. Like, it's hard to go on vacation, and we're never really on vacation because we're always looking for the next thrift store or the next antique mall or the next flea market. When you go on vacation, you're like, where's the nearest antique store?
That's good though.
And then
the write-off.
Well, right. That's true. But then you have your family that's like, you got to turn it off for a week. You can't, You got FOMO. You're going to miss out on something. And plus, being content creator, I put videos out 5 days a week, and you got to get content, so you have to constantly be out, getting that content. Oh.
Yeah, it's a full-time job, YouTube. Much people don't think it is, but all that filming and editing and all that stuff, especially if you're doing long videos, it's a big job. Well,
and that's one thing I wanted to ask you too. I've noticed you've been going live, and doing a lot live. Are you liking the live? Are you, because it's a lot easier to go live because you don't have the editing. How are you feeling about that?
I prefer creating produced content where I can have music at the right time, and you can impact somebody to feel the way that you feel about a moment by putting the right piece of piano music at the right moment. So I actually really like the art of editing. I don't spend as much time editing as I would like because, like you guys, you're trying to put out 3 to 5 videos a week or whatever. It's hard to make everything like Cons Festival ready, but if I had my way,
well, and
I would
I don't think that we should. Well, and I don't want mine to be overly edited because I kind of want people to see it in real time and in real life. But yes, it is to do those transitions are nice, to edit out your or your, odd, awkward moments, to edit those parts out are always nice to be able to do.
Love leaving in the odd, awkward. That's my favorite. That is my favorite. Odd, awkward moments.
That's comedy.
Exactly. That's what YouTube's about. That's what I want from people. I want to be like, okay, weirdo. Do you know what I mean? And that you guys know I'm not judging like that. But like, it's like you identify with that because then you're like, okay. So all those little idiosyncrasies that we all have. You know what I mean? That's how you connect with somebody. That's how it's like real. That's what makes YouTube great. It's like, okay.
Well, and we've all had those moments too where you're pulling something off of a shelf and you're like so confidently saying, oh, well, this is da-da-da-da-da, and then you're editing it and you're like, no, it's not. You don't know what you're talking about.
That never happened to me. I know you're talking about. Ever.
You're like, I'm gonna edit that out.
I have a question for Alex, and I promise this one's not going to stump you. Whenever you have a series that you're getting ready to put out, are you editing regular videos at the same time that you're editing the videos for your series? Does that like become overwhelming for you? Because right now I'm working on 2 houses and putting out daily content for like every single day, and I just like, I think the other day I edited 5 videos in one day, and I'm like, I don't know how I could keep up at this pace. And I'm like, how do you do it?
Could do a thought list, I guess. If you felt like you knew what footage you needed to get. For me, I look at it like, what type of story do I want to tell, and am I getting the right footage for that story? You know, like with Madame Rack, it wasn't really about, it was about finding stuff in the house and all that, but it was also about this piano teacher and what her story was too, right?
Yeah.
So you're keeping in mind what footage will you need to help tell this lady's story for later. You know, like,
Yeah.
so when I find like a picture of the house when it was totally clean, I'd remember to do the shot of me holding it up in front of the really spectacularly messy version. And so you could have that like, my God, what happened moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, some people would write it down, like write down a specific shot list. I don't, I just keep it kind of straight in my head. But for what you're doing, if you're doing a long series, this is something I tried recently. Was I was putting out regular videos of that series, and then at the end, I'll compact it into one special, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I did that with the Rolls Royce renovation. Actually, that's what I'm in right now. This was my
Yeah.
rack Rolls Royce.
I love it.
Love it.
That thing this car took almost 2 years to complete. So I knew that I'd probably lose a lot of viewers that didn't want to stick around and wait for every update. I kept a lot of people on board, but when I finally got to the end of it, I was like, well, I'm just going to edit it together. And then within a couple of weeks, I think we're almost at 400,000 views on that one edited compact video. So it might be worthwhile just to post what you have as it's happening, and then save the footage. And then when you have spare time, put it together as its own little feature. And
I really love that idea.
Did you guys?
Well, I saw that Melissa was saying that she needed to go. I know that Alex said that he's probably going to only be able to stay on for the first hour. So I just wanted to let you know that we're at 9 o'clock or whatever time it is there.
Basically, I'm waiting to see my mom and my cousin, my niece and nephew are showing up at some point. I haven't seen them since COVID, like in 2 years. So as soon as I hear the door slamming, they're not here yet.
Okay.
I just had to give a fair warning because truthfully, when you're as busy as we all are, the moments we get with our family are so precious. So I apologize for ducking out early, but I haven't seen those. They're not little kids anymore.
I know.
They're adults.
They're little adults. So just know that there's going to be a point where Alex is going to be, popping off, but make sure. Yeah, we'll all get bigger. I can't remember. I've made the thing for this so long ago, but all of Alex's information, if it's not there already, it will be linked down in the description. So his YouTube channel, his the links that he has to the auction site too. I'll go ahead and link that as well. Oh, it's there. Mark said it's there. I created that a while ago and I've already forgotten. So if anybody else has any questions for Alex, go ahead and let's get them in now.
Well, I kind of do have a question. I guess it would relate to Alex because it sounds like you are maybe not making physical storybook boards, but you're doing it in your head. You're kind of creating a vision. Yep. And from there, then you're videoing according to a vision that you see and adjusting as needed. And I like what you said to Joycelyn, and this is what made me think of it, was about posting content as it's occurring. Did you guys, and I know it's been a thing for a while, but I think YouTube is now really going to start to push it, is the shorts. I mean, have you guys seen that? That kind of had gotten me really curious because it very much was like TikTok-y, Instagram-ish kind of, where they're very short kinds of things. They're tidbits, they're vertical, which is interesting.
I don't like that they're vertical. I don't like that they're vertical.
That kind of freaked me out a little bit, but I was like, okay. I mean, what do you guys think about, do you see yourselves being able to utilize that in any form or fashion, especially for longer things? Would that be something that you would consider doing?
For me, I don't know. It would be back burner, I guess. Like my goal is to try and make my channel kind of like if you had a TLC TV show on YouTube, like doing my own show and putting out 30-minute episodes basically. And so I'm trying to be a replacement for TV for people. So for me, the short stuff probably wouldn't make sense because I'm trying to fill that content gap that people who are switching from cable and going to YouTube might have a show to watch. But I would use those sort of forms to communicate with people, to give little updates, or to maybe encourage them to watch the longer video, which will be coming out soon. I don't know about you guys.
I did that. I just do them for announcements. I can't talk. They only give you so They give you such a short amount of time to talk, and I can't get everything in that I want to say in that short amount of time. So that's my biggest problem with them. But just to make announcements, yeah, just like B-roll stuff, just extra things. Have you used them, Joycelyn? I don't know.
I can't even figure out Instagram stories, so I feel like figuring out reels is just going to be a little hard for me. So.
No, I love Instagram.
I'll show you. The shorts is in the app.
Okay, you can give me a tutorial on it the next time I see you.
For me, it's kind of like one of those things where, and it's interesting because they said that I actually watched the creator studio thing on it, but that they were only really going to advertise it to subscribers that are already actively watching shorts. So it's not going to be something that frustrates them by cluttering up their feed. But if they begin to watch the shorts, then it'll start to recommend it and show up in their feed, which is interesting. So I don't know. It was just, I think it's a much more youthful kind of thing in regards to it being like a TikTok kind of. It's supposed to be fast paced and catchy and bam, 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 bam.
Did you guys ever Oh, sorry. I was gonna ask.
No, I'm trying to do the TikTok, and I can't do the TikTok. I give up on it. I just don't like it. Sorry.
Yeah, there's a lot of unnecessary dancing on TikTok.
Are we gonna call that dancing though? Are we though? That's very kind
a lot of like
silliness.
A lot of stuff.
What were you gonna say, Alex?
Well, we were talking about how YouTube attracts new clients and stuff. Did you guys ever go to one of the YouTube conventions? Like where you all get together with other YouTubers in your area or whatever? And I went to one prior to COVID.
What was it?
It was so weird. Like it was in a hotel. And I woke up in a bathtub of ice and my kidneys were missing. They invited me down.
Wait, I was like, what?
Yeah, like this seems. Yeah, no. They had like a conference room, and I imagined it to be way more high tech considering it was YouTube. But it was like a typical, like it felt like if it was a retail store, like it was like the retail annual convention kind of like.
Oh wow!
Here's your lanyard, and they gave me a YouTube lanyard. And they had like here's a blanket. I'm like, okay. And they gave me a YouTube blanket. And then we sat in there and they talked about kind of how YouTube works and what they look at. And they're all about metrics, Like they hope that we do deep dives into our channel and look at how many subscribers did this video gain? At what time did that person check in or check out? And it's funny because you're talking about shorts. At that time, a couple of years ago, it was don't make anything less than 10 minutes. It's got to be 10 minutes or longer for you to monetize and put mid-roll ads and stuff. And I was like, at the time, and people watch my videos, they might be like, well, there's a lot of mid-roll ads. I just hit mid-roll ads and I let YouTube sort it out. And the reason why is that when I went to that YouTube meeting, I was editing the ads out. And they said, every time we deliver an ad, we deliver it based on who the viewer is. One person might get 6 ads, one person might get 1 ad. But if you decide to remove the ads from your video, we're still going to deliver them that ad on the next YouTube video they watch. So if you don't monetize your channel to its fullest extent, we're going to deliver those ads anyway, but the next YouTuber is going to get the money for it. So I was like, okay, well, if you're doing
Are you serious?
Yes. So
wait a minute.
Yeah.
So are you saying, because with your ad, I do the mid-roll ads, but then I insert them myself because sometimes YouTube goes a little crazy and then you get people messaging you like, or they'll leave a comment, too many ads.
Sometimes there are, but that same person who gets a lot of ads probably they've been like, oh, I'm going to click on this before, right? So they get more ads than the person who skips them or whatever. So everybody, the ads that are placed automatically on YouTube doesn't necessarily correlate to each person. So it's all different. These were the words from YouTube's mouths. If you delete ads, we're going to give them to them on the next video they watch, and you don't get paid, but that person does. So,
no.
So I think that's the scary part is like, it's just like Misty said, because when you turn on the monetization, and for everybody watching and you're not doing it, when you turn on the monetization and then you go into your editor, YouTube says you have this 20-minute long video. And in this 20-minute long video, we can see YouTube automatically places the ads in. And sometimes, you guys, when you have a 20-minute video, there are 7 commercials or ads that are placed in the video. So you're saying, don't delete it, otherwise.
Well, they're going to get it anyway, is what I'm saying. Is that if you decide to be the channel to delete the ads, they're going to get those ads on the next video they watch or click on. So, except they get paid for it and you don't. So if your goal is for this to be a source of income for your family, like Joycelyn, or for you guys, as a business, from a business perspective, if they're saying, sure, take the ads out if you want, we're just going to give them to them on the next video anyway, it doesn't matter to us, then what incentive is there to pull the ads down off your video, right? Plus, a lot of times those little notches on the video are banner ads. They're not like full-on commercials, or they're skippable.
Yeah.
And your channel, here's the big things to consider, and you guys probably know this, that if you have a potty mouth, you'll have less advertisers. If you talk about, sketchy stuff, you'll have less.
If you talk about the big C.
Yeah. So you got to be really careful. And so we try and go very PG or G rated on my channel because hey, I don't cuss a lot at all, unless my toe gets cut off, which hasn't happened yet. But if something like that happened, I'd be like,
I must have
better find some wood to knock on.
There would be some choice words, but otherwise, I'm pretty well, a Fred Rogers-y type guy in my regular life anyway. But it's also, you are a business and your channel is your business. And so does your business conduct itself in that way? And I always have to remember, when sometimes you get people who are leaving negative comments and stuff, I can't be all snarky and respond back in a negative way, because I'm a business. I am customer service. And so if I have a customer who's watching YouTube and they're like, you smell like dog's breath, or I don't know, whatever random thing they might say, I just might delete it, or, I'm sorry you feel that way. There's no point getting all going back and forth, right? So anyway, I guess what I'm saying with monetization and that is, the YouTube convention, it was like 4 hours long. I flew into, I drove out to a hotel actually. And it was just all about how you read your metrics and how you place your ads. And it was very much metric based. They could care less what your content is. It's more monitoring what you're putting out to see how it's affecting the people that you're reaching. And it was particularly interesting because it was the year that they also were demonetizing children-related channels. Yeah. So I had these channels who's like, it's Zach and Sam +2, like they had their kids or whatever. And they're like, listen, we're really upset because this is how we make our money. But the type of content that we create is considered evergreen content. And you guys probably heard that expression before. Evergreen content means that it doesn't come and go with the seasons. It lasts forever. So finding something in a thrift store is going to be interesting today, as it will be tomorrow or the next day or years from now. But talking about how your kid went to their first day of elementary school is only going to last for that moment, and then the kid's out of the house. Or if your YouTube channel is nothing but Joe is going to lose weight. Well, eventually Joe's going to lose weight and then his channel's done, right? So what do you have to do to be creative? So evergreen content is easier in this category because you have a longer span for your channel. Anyway, it was interesting to talk about, and it was a fun meeting, and I was kind of glad that I got a chance to go. But it was just so insightful.
So listen, you're listening. Listen, so if you're watching our videos and there's a lot of commercials, we didn't do it. YouTube did.
YouTube puts them in, and they put in different amounts for different people. So when we see all the crazy watches and we're like, that's nuts, it doesn't mean that's going to end up being, it's going to vary, fluctuate on the person.
Christy Williams says, after watching my video today, there was a song where they were swearing using the middle finger. What? There was a commercial about that?
What are you putting out there?
Like you were on play and then your video ended, and then the next thing that came up was a song.
Oh, like the... Yeah, no, I didn't do anything. I didn't do that, Christy. That's somebody else.
Alex is like, what kind of show did I sign up for?
What did you get into? I had a lady call, she was so mad once. She was watching the Potter's House series, and she was watching it on her son's computer. And she said there was pop-up ads for pornographic websites nonstop coming up on this. What kind of channel are you? I'm like, ma'am, I don't know if you understand how pop-ups work, but either somebody was using that computer, like looking at naughty stuff, and it wasn't us, because YouTube won't put that. So she was so mad thinking that we were making her computer do that stuff. And I'm like, you should really talk to your son about the content he's viewing on that computer.
Right. That's not you. Right.
And sanitize it.
Yeah.
Yvonne wants to know what you learned about improving your retention rate. Did they talk about a lot of people that are like, what is a retention rate? But did you learn anything about retention rate?
Yeah, there's moments where some people just eventually check out of your video. Like usually it's about halfway or 3/4 of the way through the video, like 50% of your viewers like that. They're like, I saw what I got to see. So if you're doing my retention rate was really high when I did the Musician's House series, because every video, every 10 minutes, I was finding some crazy like, hey, look, another jar full of money or diamond rings or whatever, right? So the retention rate was high because people were interested. The only way that you could really affect that would be to then, if you're editing videos, to make sure that there's interesting content happening on a regular basis throughout, or you have to say stuff like, make sure to watch to the end because I'm going to be doing blah, blah, you know?
Yeah.
But see, that's the interesting thing about that the retention.
Am I back? There we go.
You're good.
I'm back now. That is my realtor for my other location who is trying to sell my store. I think they've sold my other store, so I'll call her back.
Yay!
Yeah.
One less thing to stress you out. That's awesome.
You know, the one thing that stands out for me, and because I saw my family pull up, so I'm gonna leave on some parting words and let you guys continue on. Is that after buying and selling people's estates nonstop for 5 years and seeing many hoarder houses, I have very little interest in owning a lot of stuff myself. And you guys, I don't know if you feel the same way or not. I like having a few special things, but enough that would fit in like one showcase. You know, I don't want to have a whole house full of stuff. In fact, it just feels like inventory that's unspent. So I think what I've discovered about myself in the last couple of years is that I'm not interested so much in owning an object. I am interested in creating an experience for people. I'm interested in creating an experience for people to come in my store and having cool, crazy stuff in there. And that involves me buying and selling antiques. But I'm also interested in creating an experience for my family. And so we're really focused right now on trying to build a new house and have a new property and try and do wonderful things that we normally would not have been able to do. And so my focus is, you know, a lot of people say, oh, you must have like a house full of stuff. And it's like, no, not really. I'm just reaching for that end of the rainbow goal, which is to have a beautiful home for my family and a place to relax it, you know, and actually spend time with them. You know, that time is so precious and so fleeting when your kids are little, and then before you know it, they're gone. I want to make sure I'm spending and investing as much time as I can. So for everybody out there who's watching and they're collecting, don't let it overtake your life, and don't let even being on YouTube overtake your life. There's more important things in there, you know, in the faces of the people you meet, and the, like Michael, you were saying, you get to make a connection with your YouTubers as well, the people who watch, and you can kind of be an inspiration to people. And if there's anything I hope that for my channel, for any of our channels, it's that it gives people the possibility that you can take control of your own life. That at some point, and I'm at the point where I don't need to have a job working for somebody else. Where I walked away from my job to do this, and we're self-sustainable. And, you know, we're able to do things that I could never have dreamed we'd be able to do. And had I not left my job, none of this would have happened. So I'm not saying everybody should go out and quit their jobs, but I'm saying that if you're passionate enough about something, you should chase it until the end of the earth, until you're so successful at it that it becomes your life, and then work doesn't feel like work anymore.
Yes. That's amazing. Absolutely. And it's scary. It's a big, scary thing. And it's full of risks. It's full of risks, but it's so full of rewards, you know? So yeah, I think it's amazing.
Of all the things that have happened, you know, I've been very fortunate to have taken a risk on some people in my lives, or gotten to know people in my lives and been able to help them in turn, like Adam or Hans, and I wouldn't have met any of those people. if I had to quit my job, Hans might still be living in an unheated trailer. Adam might be on the streets not seeing his kids, or nobody would know who Mary is, or Betty Jones stuff would have all been thrown out and nobody would know who she was. Like, I just think about all these wonderful moments in my life that have happened over the past 5 years that have been a result of taking risks and doing something different.
Yeah.
And it's such an old school mentality. Like, I was raised by baby boomers, as I'm sure most of us were. And that mentality was, you get a job, you get your 401k, you retire, and if you live to 65, well, then you can get an RV or you can live your life. And I was just like, that doesn't sound like fun. I want to live now. I want to enjoy my life now. Everybody who's important to me, or many people have been important to me, have died at a young age. And if my time is limited here on earth, I'm going to live every single moment to its fullest and do as much as I possibly can in the moments that I have. And so I always say I live life like I have a firecracker lit underneath my butt, because I was like that constant, like, I got to go and get stuff done. But it's all towards this end goal of not owning the most stuff or having a house full of collectibles and antiques. It's that I just want to have a nice house for my family. I want to have a store that contributes to my community and puts smiles on kids' faces when they walk in. And nothing makes me happier than when I'm working at the store and little kids come in and they go, whoa, and they see my Zoltar and they see the weird stuff. And I just know that I'm creating memories, and they're buying candy like a 100-year-old general store. And it just, I don't know. And then their grandparents come in and they go, well, this is a heck of a nice store. And it just, you're providing something back to the area. And now we're going to build.
And when you get your regulars coming in, you look forward to seeing those people week to week, and sometimes they're just coming in to talk. They're just coming in just to,
Oh, and I'm go at the store. Like, I pretty much don't stop when I'm at the store because I'm trying to get everything done. And so if somebody comes in to talk, they have to know that I'm going to be doing stuff while they're talking. Like, I'm packing up boxes and moving stuff around. So sometimes I'm like, why don't you walk with me to the back? I got to go grab some stuff and we'll just talk and they'll hang out. So now pretty soon when we get the cafe side built, I'll have some tables for them. I'll be like, why don't you guys have a seat, grab some drinks or something, and I'll come over and say hi. I'll be like the barkeep with the white smock who's like constantly polishing a glass, like, hey, well, how's the missus? Like, I'll be that guy.
That's fun though.
Yeah. But I am going to jump off, guys. It was absolutely lovely chatting with all of you. And, here, I wouldn't have met you.
The invitation is always open. Maybe we can have you on another time. And, we can do this again. It's a lot of fun, and just interacting with our viewers and, just kind of, being this community that can just talk about some of it's very therapeutic for us as well to kind of talk about these kinds of things. So thank you so much, Alex. Thank you so much for coming on. I really, really appreciate it.
Sometimes it's easy, like,
I needed that.
For us, it's my pleasure. And for all of you guys, keep going, keep creating your content, do the things that you love to do. And people will eventually follow with you, and just do it with all of your heart, and you'll be successful. And Michael, soon enough, you could walk away if you wanted to. Mind you, your boss might be.
Oh wow, he's going to be another one. I'm another one on the pressure team.
Peer pressure. Team peer pressure.
Freedom. I'm not saying I'm not. You'll know when the time is right. But what I'm saying is, you have to paint this image in your head of what's important to you. For me, it's the house, the store, the community. That's important. And then every action I take aims towards that. And it's complicated because it means I have to buy and sell households worth of stuff. But whatever you are aiming for in life, just make sure that every step you take every day is leading in that direction, and you'll be in the right direction at the end of it. But
Michael, Fatbird Finds, which is really good friends of ours, they also have a YouTube channel. You're officially invited to the company picnic. We always talk about having a company picnic where we all get together and just hang out, and everyone brings a side dish, and there's like bouncy houses, and then we're all going to get together. So this is your invitation. We'll be in touch.
I have to come down. Yeah, I got to come down and do some meetups and stuff again. I was doing that heavy before COVID hit, so I'll get back down there again.
Yeah.
Even if it's down in Joycelyn or wherever someone might be at that time. But,
if you're in Jersey, then you'd be closer to Michael and Joycelyn.
There you go. Yeah, well, have a wonderful night, guys.
Yes.
Enjoy the family time.
Thank you. Now, guys, don't go away. We still got some time left. There we go. So yeah. So you don't leave. You can stick around. We have another half an hour. Yeah. So that was a lot of fun. So I took a risk and I thought I'm just gonna email Alex and just see. And he was so gracious to say yes that he would come on. And I'm gonna tell you, I was thrilled. I was so excited because I've been, we just really love him. So this was a lot of fun. But we're still gonna talk. So you can still get your questions in. And put them in capitals if you have a question for one of the three of us. Yes, Michael.
But I was just saying that's right. We're still here.
That's right. We're still here.
That's right.
Somebody was asking, what do you hoard?
Oh, someone was asking, what do we hoard?
Alex kind of answered it. He doesn't.
He doesn't hoard anything. What do you hoard, Joycelyn?
Sneakers.
Oh, yes. Joycelyn likes she's a sneakerhead. She likes her sneakers. What about you, Michael? What do you hoard?
Oh,
come on.
What do I hoard? It's fun.
I don't know. I don't hoard anything because I will sell it.
Okay, I do. If it's like a pine cone elf or a spun head, if it was like an old 1950s Christmas package topper, I do have more than one person needs in their life. But if it's like a small 1950s Christmas thing about this big, I probably am gonna love it. We are going to make more Christmas reuse. We will have.
Yeah, Michael had a fun video last night where he and Amy's Rock and Pop Shop crafted a vintage dish bottle doll, and then they made them and then they sold them. He didn't want to, but
it's real. No, I
was bidding on them too, and I didn't win either one.
She was going hard.
That's what happened. I was. Scott has asked Michael. Oh, and I don't hoard anything necessarily. I mean, I keep things for a little while, but I sell. Like, you want these pictures on my wall? I'll sell them to you. You know what I mean? I have a lot of pictures. I like my little figurines and the kitschy things. Michael, are you keeping any salt and pepper shakers that you showed?
Nope. They're all going to be for sale. Some will be for sale tomorrow, but I'm not trying. All of a sudden am finding salt and pepper shakers. I did not. Oh, Joycelyn, I already told you I didn't find any vegetables, so we're good there.
No vegetables with faces.
No vegetables with faces. Maybe next time. I keep finding an absurd amount of salt and pepper shakers now all of a sudden. So, but all for sale.
Yeah. Those Holt Howard ones, those little birds. Now, Joycelyn, you found those same ones, those little birds. The Holt Howard birds. Did you find the salt and pepper shakers, or did you have like the sugar? She had the sugar bowl or something, didn't you? Or were they salt and pepper shakers?
I think they were shakers. I found them, but remember they were painted. Are those the ones you're talking about? The ones that were painted that you looked up in the book for me? I found them, but somebody had painted them, and I wasn't sure about them. So I sent you pictures, and then you looked them up in the book for me. Yeah, and I decided they weren't worth it because someone had painted them. And I was like, I really don't want to put the effort in to take the paint off for what they were charging for them. It just wasn't worth it to me to mess with them.
Now, Michael, are you selling those tomorrow? Oh, they still squeak?
They squeak, you guys. We were just talking about that. I never find them that still squeak. These still squeak.
No, the squeakers are always. Now, I had some of those salt and pepper shakers, and they were not allowed to come to my home. They had to stay at the shop.
You would have kept them.
They were banned from coming home.
Yeah.
I saw Joycelyn. Joycelyn, do you just get Converse or any brand of shoes?
Well, I used to be really crazy about Converse, and I started branching out a little bit. And so I have some Reebok. I've got Nike. And just kind of buy what I like. Like, these are the Grateful Dead shoes. These ones are Andrew's. Mine are pink, but
she's diversifying.
Oh, wow.
Got like
yeah, you've been on a Nike kick lately.
I know. I've got like so many Nikes, but they've got like a little pouch right here for hiding your money.
Your money, right?
Oh,
Oh my word.
do you remember Ruse? Does anyone remember the shoes from the 80s called Ruse? They had a kangaroo on them and they had little zippers where you could tuck Ruse, ROOS.
Yeah,
And you could put like your little, your little money in there.
Stop.
Anyway, that just popped in my brain. Yeah, people are like, yes, yes. Julia, Perfecting Pearls. I need help editing faster. Any tips? I am so slow. No. I mean, editing takes a while.
I think with me, it just became easier as as I got better in front of the camera. There was less on the back end as far as editing goes. Like I became easy. Like one take, and it just got a lot easier editing because I'm like, I know I nailed it. I'm good, and I could just edit all the clips together and just trim off the beginning and the end. Occasionally, there'll be a bit in the middle where I mix up my words, but other than that, it's just I try to perfect it while I'm filming, so there's less editing.
I agree.
Yeah, because when you do all those stop and starts, it does make it hard. And not only that, it makes it hard though too when you're transferring the files. If you've filmed a lot of videos in one day, and one thing that I need to start remembering to do, because when you're going out and shopping, you're going on, like I shop on Fridays. I try to get several videos in that one day, and I need to do something to where I'm like, this is the end of the video, because it's hard when you're transferring them over, at least for me, to know which one did I start with and which one did I stop with for that particular video.
I've gotten to the point now where I literally, as I'm filming, I'm starting to import the images into the editor. That way I'm not looking at them like,
that's a good idea.
Where am I? What video is this? That has helped me a lot too. And then I also know where I'm at time-wise, so far as, do I need to keep going? Do I need to like chill out here because we're going to end up into a 2-hour video? Like, what's going on here?
Or a 30-minute yard sale video?
That was insane. I can't believe I got 30 minutes. I never get 30 minutes out of a yard sale video. But it was
yard sale videos are hard.
They are. Those are so, because you have to go quick, because I'm not sitting there like I'm literally in somebody's yard or in their garage, and I don't want people being like, are you casing my joint? Like, what's going on? So you got to be like,
who's this creepy man filming our garage?
Right? Exactly. Or they're thinking, why is this crazy person talking to himself? I think that happens a lot, especially with the older folks. They're like, can you leave?
Yeah, they're wondering what you're doing. I've had someone say, on what? And I'm like, YouTube. And they're like, they have no clue what YouTube is. I'm like, so it's kind of hard to explain what you're doing. Mimi wants to know, which is Cindy. Hi, Cindy. I'm Mimi's Treasure Crotch. I just call you Mimi. She wants to know, did you go back for the Aladdin lamp?
You know what? This is the thing. In today's video, I found a pristine Aladdin green moonstone Aladdin lamp. It had the shade, it had the knob, the actual glass was, it almost, you were like, but is that real? It was in that good of a condition, and they had it priced at $125 at a yard sale. And it's the same place that I found all the salt and pepper shakers. Those people were so incredibly lovely. And I said it in the video, and I know maybe if it was at somebody else's yard sale, I'd be like, how dare you ask? But I got salt and pepper shakers for 25 cents. Do you know what I mean? I did not go back for it because I know that there was value. I know that there is resale value. I'm just not to a point where I personally feel comfortable spending $125 on one item. Could I have bought it and sat on it and been okay with sitting on $125? Yes, I could have. Truth, yes. Okay.
Well,
I
let's
could.
ask the crazy lamp lady. Crazy lamp lady, would you have bought the Aladdin lamp at a yard sale for $125? Did you show it to her?
No, I didn't take a picture. But it's just the moonstone. It's the one where it's just the glass around the oil container, and then it has the brass base, and it has like the brass insert, the knob, and the shade. So they were what I was seeing. There was active bidding on just the glass, like the oil reserve and the base, and people were bidding at that at 144, and it was identical. And I was just like, ugh.
Yeah, but when you think about having to ship it and your
That shade
material,
scared me. The shade
yeah.
scared me. Like they're so thin.
Yeah. I may have been scared off by shipping, but I don't know. It depends. Like I would have to see it. I've got a train coming by, so I'm going to mute myself.
Okay. Listen, I have 2 Aladdin lamps at the shop, so you guys can come and buy them in September at my pop-up shop. I got 2. Really, one's a tube one. It's very Art Deco. It has a pink base, and the lampshade is just a milk glass tube, and it's got the Art Deco decal around the. It's pretty, but I'm not shipping that. No way. I will put it in my house before I ship it. Nancy, we will just have to see about that. That's all I'm going to say. Are we coming to the Springville Antique Show in September? You just have to wait and see. The Cult of Vintage. Hi. You have to work up to it. I have 8 Caro Aladdins in the house right now.
Yeah, but it's just, I don't know. It's, for me, there was such an excitement and an enthusiasm in finding it, and just being able to find it in the wild and to be able to find it at a deal, and I recognized the deal. That was a huge, and I got it on camera too. That really was one of those things where that felt good enough for me with that lamp, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Christine, do you ever buy any Disney figures or anything? I have. I do put those things on eBay, the collectibles. I won't sell them in my live sale. Probably not, but some are very mass produced, so you have to really be sure. But some Disney figurines can be limited edition. And so it always helps to just look it up. Just be careful that it's not. You have to look at the things that are sold on eBay, and as well as how many things are listed, because if there's like 500 of them listed, then what are you pricing yours at? You know what I mean? So you're going to have to be competitive with 500 other people that are listing. I saw this, Gail, suggestion for an upcoming chat: how to clean items and get smells out. I bought some tacky Christmas, but they have that lovely smell. And they're greasy. Michael, you buy a lot of tacky Christmas. What would you recommend?
I mean, I guess my first question would be, it would depend on the materials that were used. I'm feeling like if they're greasy, it might be like the plastic. And if it is the plastic and you don't have anything adhered to it as far as glitter or flocking or anything like that, just use dish liquid. Boom. Dawn, specifically. Dawn. It's gentle. It's not abrasive. Like, it literally is the stuff that animals that were caught in oil spills, you can, if you wanted to use it as a body wash, you could. It's that safe, but it will cut grease. But just dilute Dawn. Mm-hmm. But
and like anything,
dryer sheet, another good thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I'm just looking up here for the other. I saw another question here. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah, I have a question.
What comp sites do you guys use? Any other comp sites besides eBay? Now you both have Worth Point, yeah?
Yes.
It's worth every penny.
Okay.
And it's a tax deduction. You can write it off on your taxes. And Joycelyn, you were saying that now. You were saying I can't remember when, but you were saying, I think it was when we were on Kat's channel that eBay has free Terapeak even if you don't have a store.
Yeah, apparently they changed that in April, which I wasn't aware of. Logan, who is one of our moderators on our Facebook group, actually mentioned something about Terapeak now being available, and I looked into it, and I was like, what? But I guess that, and I think Danny had mentioned that the photos aren't available like after 90 days, 30 days, 90 days. I think she's in the chat. After those, they don't have photos anymore. So I don't know how beneficial that is if you can't look at the photos, because I always like to see the photos. Like, it's one thing, but like if somebody describes an item as like, you know, if it's wrong, it's wrong. But I don't know. I feel like it wouldn't really benefit me if I didn't have photos to look at. I want to know condition.
Right.
I want to know that's important.
Reference.
Yeah, Danny says after 90 days, there's no photos in the Terapeak. So I don't know if that would really work for me. I'd rather have the Worth Point where I've got the photos and everything else.
I think Worth Point too, to look at those older listings, it can help give you ideas for your own descriptions and stuff on eBay, or maybe some adjectives that are being used in the title that you aren't using. You know, I've done that. You know, I'm like, oh yeah, I that's a good keyword to use in the title. I didn't even think about that. So I think that it's good for that reason as well. I saw Donna. This eBay does make it a little bit difficult to find a seller. I know that you can go in somehow and you can find a certain seller. Like if you're talking about someone that you watch on YouTube, most of us all have our eBay links in the description of our video. So you can just click on that link and it'll take you to the eBay store. But it is a little difficult. And I don't know, I know Danny was in there. She might be able to lead you to the right direction as well. But it does make it a little bit difficult if you're trying to find.
It used to at one point when you were in the search bar, if I started to type in like thrift or junk of vintage, it would say search you, because it would recognize you were searching for something weird, and it would say search user. And it seems that feature is now gone.
Yeah, it used to be a lot easier. Oh, Laura said that I Google eBay store and the seller's name. There you go. I never even thought about that. That makes complete sense.
Which is scary all at the same time.
Yeah. Joycelyn, wait. Any suggestions on how to remove water stains from McCoy or Hager pieces? I don't know that you can.
Denture cleaner. I've never tried it personally, but I've had a lot of viewers suggest that. I know for glass, Tina has used vinegar before, and that has worked for us. We've never tried denture cleaner, but it has been a suggestion from viewers in the past. So I'm not sure if it would work or not. But
I just don't. I leave things how I found them. But I mean, if you are, buying them for resale, you might want to do it. I never thought about a denture cleaner. I know people have used it for like swung vases and stuff to get that cloudiness out of the glass. But I just figured that it already had stains in it. It was very porous and it was already kind of like stained into the pottery. But I guess that could probably go through that. George was saying lots of ways, but mostly nasty, like CLR and muriatic acid. Where do you buy your good old muriatic acid from? Do you just go to the good? Oh, you can get it at Lowe's?
Walmart.
You can get it at
Walmart.
Oh, well, I'm not up to buying my muriatic acid. Oh, this is a good question. Nancy, this overstuffed house. How did you know it was time to upgrade to an actual camera instead of just using your phone all the time? Joycelyn, I'll let you answer. Be quiet, Mark. I'll let you answer this.
Oh,
Mark has his own opinion. Yeah.
I think for me, I realized it when my phone started filling up on space and I no longer had the space to film any more videos, and it was just acting up and it was so glitchy, and I was like trying to take footage off. And you know what? I actually remember the exact moment. It was I was in England in the middle of a field. And I was filming. I was filming for Relic Recoverist, and I had an iPhone, and it was full. And here I am, like in England, in the middle of a field, and I'm like, what do I do? I'm here. I'm supposed to be filming videos, and I couldn't do it. And so it was that moment where I'm like, you know what? I just need a regular camera, and I'm done with this phone thing. And so when I got back, I bought my first camera, and it was a TG Tough Cam, Olympic Tough Cam. It was a good camera. Yeah. I never really got into GoPros, but that was an Olympic Tough Cam, and it served me well. I beat it up, and I think I broke off the actual screen, and I just destroyed it.
Oh.
And then I moved on from there, and I bought another one of the exact same, and I kind of get. And then eventually, when I started, Crazy Lamp Lady, I could get a regular camera that didn't need to take the abuse because I wasn't out in the middle of a field. And so then I kind of originally I had a Canon, and then I upgraded to Sony, and I've been getting Sony cameras ever since. Actually, they're releasing a new one tomorrow. Peter told me about this, and I'm super excited about it. And I'm probably going to buy it. So I'm really excited about the new camera.
Mark's sitting there shaking his head. Well, yeah, she likes it at colors. Her colored cameras. Does it just come in black?
I don't know yet. I'll know tomorrow. Hopefully, it's just one or two colors. Otherwise.
I bought a Sony. What is it, Mark?
It's the same one.
I'm using it as my webcam because you can use it as a webcam. I hate filming with it. I film everything on my phone, and I just upgraded to the
Samsung.
What is this, Mark? I don't ever know anything. The S21 Ultra. Which is what you have, yeah. And it has a great. Look at all these cameras on it. It's great.
Yeah.
And I'm so used to using this big screen. So when you're used to using this big screen, and then you go to the little bitty screen that's on your camera, there were so many times when I was filming and I was talking about something, and it was above it or I was below it.
Yeah.
And I'm more shaky on this camera than I am on my phone. So your cell phones have remarkable cameras in them,
Depending on your phone. Yeah.
I recommend a pop socket. So you can, hold it in your hand while you're filming. It helps stabilize it a little bit. I did have like a little tripod. I gave it to Michelle because I just never used it. But I don't think you have to upgrade to a camera unless you want to.
And back when I was using phones, but like phones have come so far
I was using a phone
with my phone. Yeah. And like now, if I was filming with my phone now, I might not have even upgraded to a camera. I don't know. Because I see like Dagny, I let her borrow my ZV-1. And she returned it like a few days later, and she's like, I'm just going to do with my phone like Michael does. I'm like, really? She's like, yeah, he edits it right on his phone. And I'm like, he does what? He does it on his phone? She's like, yeah. I'm like, she's telling me about this app that you use. And I'm like, I wish they had that back in my day, So it was like, yeah, I can see why you wouldn't want to use a camera.
You get very used to what you're used to. You know what I mean? And like
they're amazing. The videos that Michael and Dagny are producing from their phones are amazing. Yeah. So I don't see why you would even want to use a camera. It's too much work.
No, and that's the thing. Like I've been lucky, and I know I'm about to step in the controversy right now, but
oh boy.
I'm going to do it because I like to be controversial, But I really, so far as doing videos, I really would recommend a Samsung versus an Apple phone. I did it. I said it. I said it on camera. I know.
I mean, I agree.
I would agree.
But it's just like there's a stabilizer, there's zoom, there's night, and this stuff all does it for you. You do have to watch because this Note Ultra will shoot an ultra like ridiculous 4K, throw it up on a movie screen.
Michael, it's 8K.
Oh, it's
It films
8K.
in
Yeah,
8K.
it works. It works. It'll take you 10 hours to upload a 20-minute video, but you could watch it on a movie screen just fine.
Yeah.
One of my lessons that way.
Tippy Winks Vintage. Oh, girl, let me just tell you, Michael, I had a.
But wait, she's saying a box in a bag now. A box.
Oh, I do box in a bag sometimes too, but the key word is box. Box in a bag. Box in a bag is fine. I had someone contact me. It was their first time purchasing from someone on a live sale, and it was an Instagram live sale. And she bought a mirror with brass, ornate, intricate details. It's like a vanity mirror. So it has a stand.
Hollywood Regency.
Hollywood Regency. It was very Hollywood Regency. And it got shipped to her, wrapped in bubble wrap, but in a poly bag. A mirror was shipped in a poly bag without a box in it. And of course it arrived broken. And the the seller was like, well, sorry, it's my policy. Yeah, I package things very well. You're going to have to file a claim with USPS. I was livid because my mind, I was thinking, seriously, because it's a seller like this seller that is changing the way USPS works with filing a claim. That's why it's been so hard to file a claim, because the seller's just like, you're just going to have to file a claim with USPS. No, don't be that person. I was so mad. And my husband was like, just stop. But it really made me mad.
Was that somebody in the reselling community that did that?
No.
Not one that we're associated with.
No. But yeah, and first of all, if you are a seller and a buyer is coming to you and they're sending you photos of the package was completely destroyed and the stuff on the inside, you refund your buyer. Come on.
You gotta just own up to
their $30 or whatever they paid.
Just own up to it. Like, you know what? Learn your lesson, own up to it, and move on. And then you pay to learn.
Exactly.
This time you pay to learn.
There you go.
And now you know the next time you ship a mirror, you don't put it in a poly bag because you paid to learn that lesson.
Yeah, Scott knows. Scott, I was so mad. Scott was like, it's wasteful. And it does make you mad. Something that was this beautiful and ornate, and the girl bought it for herself as a birthday present to herself. And I was just so mad. So if you're doing a box in a bag, that is fine. It can save the buyer a little bit on shipping, a little bit, but make sure that you're still wrapping the thing really, really good inside the box. So, and I do agree with this, Katie. I do think that if something is in a poly bag, even if it's in a box, the USPS will just toss it around even more because it's tossable in that bag. So just kind of think about that. Yeah. So just kind of think about that.
And this is the truth. I don't know, because like in the one post office that I go into, like I can see into their sorting room. It's not like there's a wall and there's sorting that's happening behind it. There's like a half wall. So I literally can see they take these giant like canvas material bags, and your boxes are literally thrown in these canvas bags, and then they cinch them up, and that's how they're not like stacking them up. They're literally putting them in giant bags, cinching them, and they're thrown onto a cart, the truck. That's how it's done. That is how it's done.
Yeah. You just, if you think, oh, I'm not using enough bubble wrap, if that like thought crosses your mind, maybe you might put a little bit more bubble wrap on it. You know, if you're like wrapping it and you're like, you know, kind of go with your gut.
My favorite is packing paper.
Yeah, I love packing paper too. I mean, I use bubble wrap and packing paper.
Packing paper for the win.
Oh, which reminds me, thank you, Mark. American Bubble Boy is a fantastic bubble wrap company. And I have a link, an affiliate link, and you can save money on your order. You get it the next day. And it really is good bubble wrap. I use it all the time. I just placed, gosh, another quite large order. Joycelyn gets it from them too. They're great.
Yes.
Oh, what editing apps do you recommend?
I say
Michael,
start with the basics. Start with something free. I literally go onto, it's on the Play Store. So again, it is through Google. You probably can get it though. You can probably get the app through the Apple Store, but it's literally called Video Maker. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I can put filters, which I don't, but can put filters. There's like a ridiculous amount of fonts. You can put animated GIFs, which I don't do though. I have done a couple times. You can put. Do what?
I've seen little animated things.
Yeah, I've put spiders. I've put dust clouds. I mean, you know, hey. I mean, and it's free. It is all free. I would not recommend using their licensed free music. It's licensed free, but it's not copyright free. So if you were to use, and it's not all of it, but you can put that in your video, but they can still copyright claim it once you post it up on YouTube. And it's happened to me. So it's licensed free, but it's not copyright. And then YouTube will say, well, you can't, we're going to give anything that you make from this to that person. So don't do that. But it's free, 100%. You can upgrade it and get like extra filters, extra fonts. But other than that, I'm like, but really though, there's already too many for me to use. So I don't even, and the upgrade's like $5.
Joycelyn, what do you use? You use Quicken, not Quicken. That's taxes. Final Cut Pro. That's what.
Yeah, it's spendy and it's one that you pay for. But prior to using Final Cut Pro, I was using iMovie, which is free, and it comes on your Mac. So I used that for the longest time, and it served its purpose. I was able to use it, and eventually I just wanted a few extra features, and so that's why I moved up to Final Cut Pro. But everything you want to do to edit videos, it can be done with iMovie, which is free.
I use Filmora. I did upgrade. I do pay for the upgraded version, but just starting out for a while, I used their free software. And it's kind of one of those things too. You just get used to it. It's like the software that you're used to and you're confident with. So that's typically what you'll stick with. At least that's what my experience is. Cheryl, the name of the product to remove stickers from ephemera is called Undo. I think, Kara put it in there. Undo, and it's amazing. It's magic. And now listen, I don't have an affiliate link for that. I'm just saying that it legit is great, and it doesn't ruin the ephemera.
That's just crazy. Science.
You put it on and you're like, oh, I don't think I'm supposed to, because it's like liquid and you're squeezing this liquid onto this beautiful piece of ephemera. And then you use your little Scotty peeler, which is another great tool to have. It's a little plastic, like a fingernail. It's like an extra fingernail, and you just peel it off and it comes right on. Goo Gone, Becca, I think leaves a little bit of residue. I don't like the way it feels on my hands when I'm done with it. It's got like a
grease.
Yeah, it's very oily. Yeah, kind of greasy. Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna wrap it up. This was a fun night. We're almost at 9:59. You know, it's pumpkin time at 10 o'clock. This was really exciting. So next week we're going to be on Michael's channel, and you just have to stay tuned to see who is going to be on the Vintage Rescue Squad. Maybe it'll be you. You never know. But thank you so much to Joycelyn for coming on. And thank you, Yvonne. Yvonne was being a mod. Thank you so much for coming on and, having a little chit chat. I know that Joycelyn is very, very busy, but I appreciate you coming on and chatting with us. Everyone likes it when you're on and likes to hear your advice. Yeah. Yeah, hang out with all of us. And as always, thank you so much, Michael. And also, Michael and Michelle and I are having a live sale tomorrow at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Yep, 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Yes, Michelle Comfy Cozy's channel. And then I have a live sale on Wednesday with my daughter, Emma.
What?
She's been buying things for resale. So she's very, very nervous.
There's another blade in the game.
Right.
Start sweating.
Yep. So she made the thumbnail today, and so yeah, she's excited. She's very nervous, but you have to come. It's at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Michael has his live sales every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And what am I forgetting? Anything else? Joycelyn has things on eBay right now, so go check out her eBay store.
And
the
videos
link is in every description of our video. It's true.
Yes. Yeah, I will say that I get a lot of, you guys probably do too, get a lot of emails, people ask me, where's your eBay store? Where's everything is always in the description of all of our videos. So you can find whatever we are on. It's always in the description of the videos. Sometimes if it's just like a video you've thrown up and you've not done everything with, but very rarely, but typically it's always in the description of the video. So
Except for this one.
It's in this one.
Not your eBay.
Oh, not in the live. It's usually not in the live videos. Oh, thank you, Russell. Thank you so much for the super chats too, guys. All right. Thank you so much. And Michael, you want to close it out with your little saying there? We always like to hear.
Because it's not on the Cult.Of.Vintage. We can't do it.
I like to hear it. Okay,
all right,
can
guys.
we say together?
Well, okay, do you just want to do the end part, or do you want me to do the whole shebang?
Go ahead. I'll let you do it.
Whole thing.
All right, guys. So we, of course, always want to thank you guys for tuning in today. We hope that you guys had a really good night. And remember, guys, until next time, keep it rusty, crusty, and dusty. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. Thank you so much.